Hello, quilters. Welcome to Studio B Live. I am working on a new quilt panel. It's the maze quilt panel. At least that's the name I gave it. It looks like a maze, and the maze leads to a star. So I have been working on since last night doing the stitch in the ditch around the maze outline. And now I'm working on stitching in these strips, if you will, these dark colors. I finished all the yellow, the light gray, and now I'm working on the dark gray. So I had a thread change. And I'm using glide thread in case you're wondering. And I wanted to do something that was along the lines of improv quilting, but also something that was continuous within each maze segment. So I figured that out. Of course, I was thinking about it all night and this morning, what it would be. And if you have been following the videos for the Stitchline Ruler, those videos include a design called floating, I think it's called floating triangles. I meant to get a link for it. Let me get a link for it. Let's see. I'll go to my YouTube studio here so that you know what I'm talking about. And I'll put a link in the chat. Let's see. Beginner technique, stitch line. It's one of the first ones. There is a playlist, by the way, for the Stitchline Ruler. Let's see if this is it. Nope, that's not it. So how was your week? What have you been up to? What have you been working on? Let me know in the comments if you are... Okay, here it is. I found it. What you've been working on. All right, I got a link here. I will put it in the chat. Okay, it's in the chat now, and I'll put it in the description box below. Maybe I'll even make it as a comment once the live session is over and it becomes a video. I can put a link in the comments below the video. And anything I talk about as far as tools or whatever is also in the description box. So if you are interested in anything I'm talking about, I even tagged on some of the things that I use, like the stickers, the ruler grips that I like that I have here, these dots. That's also in a description box below the video. So anyway, that's just for your convenience. Anything I talk about, if I have a link to the tool or the event or whatever, always check the description box. All right, let me get to stitching. All right. So I'm creating floating triangles throughout the zigzag, if you will. And I'm connecting them by diagonal lines from one corner to the next. So the floating triangles are within each of these segments as it goes from vertical to horizontal to vertical. So what have I been up to this week? This week I had a lot of video editing to do for an event. Actually 2 events. I've been working on the presentation and or videos. And I did a little bit of quilting too. I finished a pillow. If you are in the summer soiree that's with Triple Stitch Collective, you know, I'm one of 3 quilters in the Triple Stitch. We're putting on a summer soiree that's happening at the end of the month. And I worked on a project. Part of my contribution is to offer some quilting, machine quilting inspiration, whether it's free motion or ruler quilting. And so initially I was only going to do something with the Stitchline Ruler, but I love free motion. And the lady said, yes, please, please give us some free motion inspiration. So I decided to make a second pillow. I have two now. And the first one is all ruler quilting. And the second one is mostly free motion with a little bit of ruler quilting. A little bit of ruler quilting. Okay, what am I doing here? Let me concentrate so I don't have to use the seam ripper. And the pillow came out fantastic. And then I learned this. You know how we just automatically gravitate to what we like? It just happens. It's like when I was searching for furniture when I moved into this house. I went to the furniture store and I was ordering a sleeper. It's called it's not a sleeper sofa. It's not a chair. It's a the size is between a chair and a love seat. So it's bigger than a chair, but smaller than a love seat, which fit my space perfectly. And I was looking for the upholstery fabric that I wanted. And would you know, not meaning to do so, I picked almost exactly the same fabric that I have for my dining room chairs, the seats. And then I started to look around and say, man, you keep picking the same either colors or combination of colors or textures when I pick upholstery fabric. So when I was finishing my work for this soiree and doing the videos and stuff and doing the free motion, because the free motion was second, the ruler quilting was first, I realized that I had picked the same theme, and that's spirals. So I have ruler quilted spirals and free motion spirals for the inspiration. And I'm excited because I picked a brand new, well, I shouldn't say picked, I stitched a brand new spiral design that I had not stitched before. Now this is part of my spiral collection. I did, of course, some practice pieces, and now I'm going to add this spiral to my spiral free motion workshop. I have so many different spiral designs, and this one is so fun. It's so organic. No marking required. It's good for background fills. It's good for edge to edge over the whole quilt. You can use it for dense quilting. You can use it for very loose quilting. It's very forgiving if you're a beginner. I really love it. So one side of the pillow has this new spiral design, and the front of the pillow has another type of spiral on the front. So there's two different spiral designs in this one pillow. Both very beginner friendly. Both very beginner friendly. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I can't wait to share it during the summer soiree. I've been concentrating so much on ruler quilting. It's kind of like a goal, every um time either I get a new tool or I learn a new technique or I want to learn a new technique, I kind of focus everything in that area for the better part of 6 months, even to a year, maybe even longer. Do you do that? Let me know in the comments if you have quilting goals every year, whether it's to learn a new piecing skill or a new machine quilting skill. And so this year, I really have been concentrating on the Stitchline Ruler. So I haven't done much free motion. But I did some this week, and it turned out so good. So that's what I was up to this week, doing the pillow front, pillow back, shooting video of it, editing the video, etc., etc. Okay, I'm supposed to go to this corner now. And then I'm going to use the crosshair. And I'm supposed to use that diagonal one on there. All right. Done. So I'm almost done with, I have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this one is going to be interesting. This one has an offshoot, and I'm wondering if I should separate them. I have to think about that one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. Let me go to the ones that I know what to do first. I did send out an email about what's happening next week and the week after. If you're not on my email list, just go in the description box below or just click, excuse me, if you're on the replay, click the live chat and you'll see the links, I think. If not, just check the description box below. And you can go to my website. Now, normally, do I usually have something? No, I guess not. I'll have to change that. Anyway, it's machinequilting.live. And anyway, you can sign up for my email list. And I send an email out at least at the beginning of the month. And if there's other stuff happening, machine quilting wise, resources that could help you in your journey, I'll send a second email. I'm not sending emails every single week, so don't stress about that. You won't be bombarded with emails from me. But if there's something happening that I want you to know about that could help you in your machine quilting journey, I'll send a second email. Especially if you're a Stitchline owner, if you own my ruler and I have some event coming up where I highlight the ruler or there's some new video, then I'll send another email for that too. All right, done. And now I'm still deciding what I'm going to do in the white area. I haven't decided yet. I'm hoping to be inspired along the way. As I quilt, that something will come to mind. A couple of ideas are in my head, but I haven't really decided. Let me go over here. We've been having a lot of thunderstorms, lots of thunderstorms. Like, I think we had at least 3 this past week, if not more. I didn't keep count, but it seemed like it was every day. And I don't like thunderstorms, lightning and thunderstorms. I know we need the rain. I don't mind that. Now, I'm thinking about in the white area to put in free motion. But I might interrupt the free motion with some circles. That's the idea I have so far. So I would put in random circles, and I was thinking of using different colors of thread. Those circles wouldn't be just simple circles. I would do some kind of free motion quilting design within those circles. Wanted to have a little bit of fun because I'm thinking along the maze thing. Like whenever there's a maze, right? If it's, those books that we used to get, maybe you still do, where you would try and find how to get from the outside to the star or whatever it is that is the solution getting to the house or what have you, that you would do a pencil line, right? That's a game, a maze. But I was still thinking about when it's that garden maze and people are all trying to find their way from one end to the other. There's that. Then there's, the classic one with the mouse or something, and there's the cheese, and the mouse is using its nose to get to the cheese. That kind of thing. But I don't know. And then I was thinking about that classic video game from way back, Pac-Man. So with Pac-Man, it was also a maze. And the idea was for it to come along and eat the fruit or whatever it was, I forget. But there was always, if I remember correctly, either there were multiples or something was chasing the Pac-Man, I forget. But it wasn't just, I think the Pac-Man was eating things along the way. I'll have to research that because now I forget now that I'm thinking about it. So I was thinking along those lines, something playful. So I'll do some research on that. All right, that goes there. I'm in the corner. I'm so glad I'm doing these Studio B Live because it helps me to get more quilting done. When I have a deadline, is that you? Do you need a deadline? I need a deadline. I know I want to do certain things and then I put it off, But now that I have this Studio B Live on the first, second, and third Saturday, I prep for it. I pulled out a panel. Like, what panel am I going to work on? Because I have several panel designs that I have yet to quilt. And so this is helping me quilt these panels and try different techniques. And if you like any of these panels that I'm quilting, I print them at Spoonflower, and I have a Spoonflower page, which I don't think I put inside the description. I think I did. Let me see. Hey, if you're watching, say hello. Say hello. Glad that you're here. So in the description box below, I have info on the Stitchline Ruler, the tech stuff that I use, like my wireless microphone, the ruler stickers, stuff like that. But I don't think I have spoon flour. I can put that in the chat and the description box after I finish the live session if you're interested in any of my panels. And spoon flour always has some kind of sale. So I would wait for the sale. No reason to pay full price. Okay. All right. So that's the last one. I want my yeah. Turn this way. And then I get that there. And I have what I need. All right. There we go. What else did I do this week? Oh, I worked on editing a conversation with one of the Quilt Conversations live ladies. So if you're new here to the channel, welcome. I come live on the third Friday of the month, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm having a guest interview with one of the ladies who has been coming to this live show for several years now. I think since the inception, which was in 2021. So 21, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. This is the 6th year that I've been doing Quilt Conversations live. So it was a fantastic conversation. We recorded it, and I'm going to share that recording. But we talked for so long, of course, I had to condense it to 1 hour. I tried so hard to keep the best parts of our conversation. I think I did. So join for that. Hopefully you can be there. She'll be there in the comments. So will I. You know, I'll greet everyone in the beginning, and then after we greet each other and say hello, and I'll give a little intro, then I will play the interview. So I worked on that interview, and we'll just watch it together and talk about it in the chat as we listen to what she has to say. She is an amazing person, and she's such a good example for someone who is interested and wants to learn free motion and ruler quilting and is willing to do the work. Her quilting journey began in 2020, and she has just grown as a quilter in so many areas. So come for that conversation. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, so now I have these two that are mirror image, and I want to try and stitch them that way too. So I have to think about this. I'm usually starting at this corner, I think. I think I'm starting at this corner and on here, up, over, and down. Okay, let's see if that's correct. I think it is. I think it is. I think it is. All right. So I don't want to stitch to there. I want to stitch. Nope, this side. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. This is why I really like to practice on panels. Panels give us an opportunity to really practice and experiment so that when it comes to quilting those important quilts, we have some skills, we have some experience, we've learned what works, what doesn't work. Not only with designs, but also with thread choices, right? Thread choices. So all the other colors, the gray, the yellow, the light gray, have white. Works fine. But I didn't want to use white on this dark gray. So I have several shades, hues of gray. So there's gray thread. I have a gray silver-like thread. I have a bronzy gray. I have a warm gray, a cool gray. And I chose a warm medium gray. I didn't want it to blend with the gray. I wanted to have a slight contrast. So if you quilt your own quilts, I definitely recommend that you have different grays. Not just light and dark, but warm grays, cool grays, and then you'll have your different values of gray. So who is here? Hello, Sassy Quilt Stitches. Hey, I'm glad that you're here. Let me read your comment. Oh, you're thinking about getting a sit down. What long arm do you have now? And have you enjoyed it? And why are you thinking about changing? Okay, so I need to go from, all right, I need to think about this. Here to here, or is it this side? It's on the inside. Yes, on the inside. I love my sit down. This is my second sit down. I had another one that didn't have stitch regulation because I bought it years ago before stitch regulation was improved for sit downs. I had actually, let me correct that. I've had 3 sit downs. The first one was the Baby Lock Tiara, if I remember correctly. It's like the Sweet 16. It was very popular back then. It was basically the only one. And once manufacturers realized how popular it was, other brands started making sit downs. However, I purchased it used. I found someone who had purchased one, found that they didn't really use it, so it was practically brand new. And she wasn't too far from me. I could go pick it up myself. She was just a couple hours away. And it didn't have stitch regulation that was integrated with like the stitch plate, like it is here in the Bernina. You had to attach something to it. Now, I wasn't upset about that. Oh, Innova. Okay. Innova, I think it's it. I'm changing due to the hard, too hard to stand. Yes, that's another reason why I got to sit down, because I knew that I was not going to be able to stand for long hours at a time. And then the other thing that happened is that I had spinal surgery when I was young, and I knew that I couldn't stand. And then I don't have the space. Plus, so there's 3 reasons: spinal surgery, knew I couldn't stand, limited space, and then my journey with free motion started with no stitch regulation. So that really wasn't a big deal for me, even though it was something that I wanted, but not all stitch regulation experience is good, put it that way. The early days of stitch regulation, they had all kinds of contraptions attached to the machine and or attached to the quilt, which is what I think the Baby Lock and the Sweet 16, their early versions, you had this little hockey puck that you had to attach that would um, regulate, not necessarily regulate, it would monitor the quilt movement, which would then help the computer gauge the stitches based on that movement. That's how I think about it. So anyway, I didn't like that system. So the other thing is that I wanted the potential of going to a frame if I ever was going to sell my sit down, so that if someone was interested, that they could get the machine at a good price and then just buy the frame. So that's when I moved up to a Juki, which is 18 inches. And that is not only 18 inches long, lots of space. I didn't care that it was without stitch regulation. Okay, so you're asking about the pattern for what I'm quilting on? Is that what you're asking about? I know you're live. I just got here. Blah, blah, blah. Can anyone share with me the pattern name? If you're talking about the quilt, it's a fabric panel that I designed. And if you're interested in it, I'm going to put a link to Spoonflower where you can order the fabric panel. It's not something that you piece. So I like to practice and experiment on fabric panels. And I usually have fabric panels for my classes. So, um, yeah, you can get the fabric panel. It's 1 yard, 42 inches by 36 inches. What am I doing now? Oh, this here, this side. Yeah. So anyway, okay, am I doing this correctly? I want to go over here. All right. So back in, when was it? I think it was 2022, I became a Bernina ambassador. And that's how I got this machine, as an ambassador for Bernina. And Bernina has done just an amazing job with the sit down. I started with the Q16, but because I was on an 18-inch prior to that, it was too short. So I said, well, I want to go up to the 20. So now I have the 20 inches, which is better. I didn't want to go backwards. I didn't want to lose 2 inches. I'd rather gain 2 inches. So I went to the 20. It has a laser light that I attached recently. I'm not using it now, but it's fantastic. That's what this is right here. If you look at the close-up picture that I'm pointing to. I love that on the side of the machine, there's the bobbin winder. Fantastic. I also added a new feature, which you can't see. It's on this side of the machine. It's an attachment. It's an additional accessory. It's for horizontal spools. So depending upon what kind of thread you have, whether it's horizontal wound or it's a small spool that is horizontal wound instead of cross wound, they have a horizontal spool pin on the side. So that allows me to use my smaller spools of thread. So I just added those two features in the last couple of months, and I like both. Both features are fantastic. Okay. right. And one last long one right here. All right, did I do it? Yay, I did it. I did it. I did the mirror image of the design. Boom, 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 boom. Yay. Awesome. All right. Simply Spoiled. All right. Hopefully I answered your question about what you're looking at, and that's what your question was about the pattern. I could make it into a quilt pattern, but writing quilt patterns is so much work. Oh my goodness. So much work. All right, what's next? Should I do this one? If I do this one, which direction do I go? Start at this corner. I'm not going to try and mirror this one, or should I? If I did, no, I'm not going to do it because I can't figure it out. Any other questions? Any other questions? I'm deciding whether or not I should try and mirror this one. And if I do, with this little odd piece here, where do I start? I already have a rhythm of how to do the ruler and the pattern and where the triangles go, the floating triangles. And I don't want to reverse that because then I might do it incorrectly if I try to reverse it. It's like going from here to here. Yeah, see, I've already can't figure it out. There's no, the corner, also it would be from here to there. So if I start from this corner, go to here, boom, 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 boom. I don't know. Oh, are the rulers for sit down the same as the ones for a long arm? Yes, they are. Most long arms use a 1/4 inch thick rulers. Now, depending upon the machine, most long arm machine, the ruler foot is a 1/2 inch in diameter. There are a few out there that are not, which I don't know which ones those are. I have them on a sheet. But it's the 1/2 inch in diameter that makes this channel part work that I've been using the channel. So whether it's a sit down or a frame, if they both use a 1/2 inch, you're using exactly the same ruler. So no problem there. Same rulers. You just have to make sure that it is a 1/2 inch ruler foot. The other thing that I love about the Bernina sit down, which is different than the previous machines I had that were sit downs. When I was looking to buy a sit down, I went to one of those big quilt shows and I just tried every single long arm. You probably did the same thing. And what most of them did was that they had a different foot, a different needle than your domestic sewing machine. That meant that I had to buy separate feet, I had to buy separate needles. Bernina, this foot here works on their domestic machines. The needle, the same needle that you use on a domestic machine. You don't have to buy a separate ruler foot for your sit down than you do for your home sewing machine. If you have a Bernina sewing machine, that is, home sewing machine. I thought that was genius. That is genius. And then the other thing that I like about the Bernina sit down, it's just a lever back here to remove the foot and put on another foot. It's no screwdriver necessary. It's easy to put on and take off and add another foot very quickly. Just that easy. No screwdriver required. Ease of use. And then this one is my favorite foot. Not only it has this wheel is makes it height adjustable because sometimes we use batting, right? That's thicker or thinner, and we can raise and lower the foot. And then this particular one is called the 72S. It has a slit on the side. That means that I can slide the thread right through, right? The side of the foot. Which is fantastic. Love that. Love that. Love that. Hopefully that answered your question. What else? Let's see. I think I'm going to work on another area because I'm not sure what I want to do here. And when I'm not sure, I just go to where I know what I'm going to do. And that's this one. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start in this corner. I think I maybe need to turn this around even one more time. So I'm starting in this corner because I need to go to that corner. This side. Okay. So what kind of quilting do you like to do? Sassy Quilt Stitches and Simply Spoiled. What kind of quilting do you ladies like to quilt? Do you like applique? Do you like foundation paper piecing? What kind of quilts do you make? Scrappy quilts? Okay, that's one over here to here, up, over, and then down. Okay. Do you work with panels? These panels are great for quick quilt projects for gifts too. Multi-purpose. Okay, you love some of everything. Yeah, free motion quilting for practice panels are fantastic for that. I would agree. Yeah. All right, so I need to go on that side. Is that right? Here. I'm gonna go down. No. Side. Yeah. Okay. Okay, did I make a mistake? Here. I think I was supposed to do it on the inside. Yep. I was supposed to do it on this side. Well, looks like I'll be using the seam ripper because I was supposed to go on that side. If I go here, no triangle, yeah. So anyway, that is my week. I'll fix this off camera. Before I sign off, I wanted to share a couple of things. I think each time I go live, I want to share some of my practice pieces. I've been learning and teaching ruler quilting since 2015. And for a while, I was an accredited teacher with So Steady. If you're not familiar with them, they're the ones that manufacture and sell Westerly design rulers. They have some fabulous rulers. And when last week, you can watch that one, I talked about this piece right here. And this is one of their templates. It's called the Honeycomb template. And whenever I get a new tool, which I recommend for anyone to do, is to experiment, whether it's on a panel like I'm doing now with my ruler, the Stitchline Ruler. This is a ruler that I designed, the Stitchline Ruler. Whenever I would get a Westerly design ruler, I would experiment in many ways. And the most obvious way first was to stitch exactly what the ruler can do. Let me see if I can get this one up. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. A little bit of it. I think I did put, let me do a picture of it. Let's see if I get the right one. There we go. All right. So I'm holding what you see now on screen. So it's a beautiful honeycomb design. The template is fantastic. I did this on my home machine, and you can see it here, what it looks like on the back. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, so this is what it can do. Now, there aren't many places that we can put something this big in a quilt that you could see the whole design unless you have a lot of negative space. But maybe you don't need negative space. So anyway, I like to experiment with it. I like to experiment with rulers. So this is the first iteration, right? Then, okay, so you're saying you notice that the quilt moves with ease, and you remember struggling with free motion on my domestic, and it really looks easy to move the quilt about. Yes, the amount of space that we have on a long arm machine matters, especially on a sit down. Having lots of space to move the fabric matters. But I also use a glider underneath the quilt. There's holding, painter's tape is holding it in place so it doesn't shift while I'm stitching. But there is a slider or glider underneath here, and that helps the fabric move smoothly. And I use that on my domestic machine. I still do a lot of free motion on my domestic machine. I don't always stitch on the long arm. So anyway, you are right with the struggling part. Yeah. So this is the first iteration. Let me show you the next one. Then I said, what if I overlap them? And that's this big one. I took a picture of the back so that you can see it because it was hard to show the orange, but this is the front of it. In person, you can see the texture of the gold thread, but I wanted you to see how we can change and how we can use a template in multiple ways. We can stack them. We can put one in front of the other or behind, and then we can put circles around it, which I did. I put circles around this one. Still the same honeycomb template in conjunction with their circles on quilt template, which created the circles around. So that was the second one that I did. And then once I introduced the circles, of course, I had to go to the next step. And I showed this one last week. I decided to use only a portion of the acrylic ruler and add some free motion and add more circles. So now you see that's this one here. I love feathers. And so I said, well, how can I incorporate? Because the whole idea, right? The whole idea is that we learn the techniques. We learn ruler quilting techniques, free motion techniques, and then we learn designs. Once we learn the designs, then how do we incorporate them into our quilt projects? How do we mix and match according to what the quilt needs or what we want to do as a quilter? Our own personal style develops when we take those techniques and patterns that we've learned, and then we start to put them in the quilt the way we want it to appear. And the only way to learn how to do that is to practice, right? So often I will do a lot of my practice on whole cloth, like you see here. It's how does the thread look against the color, the pattern, the design? Does it really work? What would I do differently in a real quilt? So I have these as ready reference. And then I like to use different fabrics on the back to see, how does this red thread on blue look on pink fabric? So I'm thinking about these things, right? So that when it comes time to that important quilt, I at least have some experience about what works and what doesn't. And then the next thing, after using a portion of the honeycomb and using not just a portion in terms of its circumference, I only used 1/2, right? Then I used fewer parts of the honeycomb. They're not all connected. Then I used it for applique. So that's what I showed last week. So when I was thinking about today, I said, well, let me pull out all my honeycomb samples, practice pieces, to show the progression of what we can do as quilters to practice and to get experience with an acrylic ruler, to get experience with designing with the acrylic ruler, with the techniques that we know and the ones that we want to learn. So here it is now used as an applique on top of a pieced block that has some ruler quilting in the back, some circles. I put circles, I quilted the whole quilt block first. Then I put it's felt, wool felt fabric, and I stitched a portion of the honeycomb, then cut out a 1/4 inch around. And it's an idea that I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do this kind of applique work with rulers on top of our quilts for baby quilts? I can even do it, say, on this one. My idea about it being a Pac-Man maze, I could take some felt and quilt some circles on top of it. It gives it another dimension, which I might look at that now that I'm thinking about that out loud. It's an option, right? So I just like to have fun with thread and fabric, just like you ladies do. So that's what I wanted to share with you on some of my practice pieces. And if you're interested in the honeycomb template, you like what you see, and you want to try any of the honeycomb designs that I put up here. You can just go in the description box below. I put a link in for the tool, and of course, you can use it on your home machine or your long arm. And I think at the time I was doing this, I think I did do this on a home sewing machine. It wasn't a long arm. So it's just fun. Fun, 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 right? Now, lastly, before I sign off, if you want to get more resources for your journey as a quilter, you don't know what's next for you for learning, again, just go to my website, machinequilting.live. I did put a link in the chat at the very top. It's pinned. Click on that link, it goes to my website, and I have tons of resources on there, even free things that will help you with your ruler quilting journey. One is the 5-star ruler work quilt along. It's quilting with the Stitchline Ruler, and it's a series of videos. You can sign up on my website. It's free. You get access to the online community, and you get to learn how to use this ruler without marking. I show you several techniques on how to use the wavy side as well as the channel and the straight edge, different techniques which you can use for any other ruler that might be similar, but everything is geared toward my Stitchline ruler. On my website, you'll also find out how to get a Stitchline ruler, and there's a link in the description box below for that as well. And what else? Oh, I have a live virtual event coming up next week. I can't believe it. It's next week already. I've been preparing for it. Let me show that to you. Let's see. It's called Patchwork Power. This is a event that's virtual. It has 1-hour presentations by 10 different expert instructors. The majority of the instructors are going to teach about different piecing techniques. You'll get amazing education and tips. These ladies are amazing. The featured speaker is Karen Montgomery. If you don't know her, you need to know her. If you love piecing quilts, she's amazing. Matter of fact, I have one of her rulers right here. It's one of my favorite rulers. It's a 3.5 by 12.5-inch ruler that I use for everything. I use it for cutting strips. I use it for binding. I have 2 of these. I have 2 of these. I love her patchwork template. So she's the featured speaker. She's amazing. This is a Creative Grids ruler. I'll put the link for this in the description box. I forgot about that, but I'll put that in too. So anyway, there's 10 of us. And if you miss a session, no worries, because guess what? There's a replay, but there is one hitch. You only have access to the replays if you sign up for the event on or by July 16th, which is when it is. It's July 16th. You won't get access to the replay if you try and sign up after. So it's so worth it. And if you use my code PP for Patchwork Power, PP26 Geraldine, you'll get $20 off. You'll save $20. So you'll get all the replays, you'll get all 10 instructors, and of course, every instructor is offering some kind of bonus. And so is CT Publishing, who is the host of the event. It's well worth it. I've been to 2 of their events, one this past April and one last summer. And I go back and I watch some of those. One was about thread and another one was about machine quilting. My presentation is all about improv ruler quilting for sit down and for home machines. It doesn't matter. I'm going to talk about how you can be creative with the skills and techniques that you have learned and acquired. How can you use them to be more creative? And so we're going to talk about improv ruler quilting. I'm going to show different techniques. I'm going to show how I use this laser light in conjunction with my Stitchline ruler for precision quilting. Talk about that. And I went as far as so that you would get the most out of this hour presentation to put together several video demos on several designs. You can't do that in 1 hour, right? So instead, I record the videos, I speed them up a little bit, and then I do a voiceover. That way you get access to several different designs and techniques. I was able to do, I think, 4 different patterns. I can't remember exactly. And of course, I talk about other things too. But because it's all pre-recorded, that segment of it is pre-recorded. It's about 15 minutes. You get more, right? So me doing it live takes too long, and I want to give you as much as possible in that hour. So we'll have a chat first for about 15 minutes or so, and then for another 15 minutes, I'll have a live camera with those samples and the ruler, and I'll talk about ruler lines and so forth. Then we'll go for my live camera talking about ruler features. Then we'll go to that video demo. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. My hope is that ladies will be inspired to finish those quilts that they've been stitching in a new and fun way. Oh, you like the applique over the regular quilting? Yeah, you like that. Fantastic. Isn't that fun? And we can do that with almost any ruler that we have. So fun. So look at your ruler collection to see which ones you can use for applique. Like I have a few heart rulers that can make hearts. I've done applique using those templates for hearts. I did a love banner, and it's at my niece's house now. Yeah, so much fun. And then you can applique anything. I like the idea of the felt though, because I don't have to worry about raw edge, right? I don't have to worry about turning under fabric, none of that. If I was to use fabric, I'd probably use batik because batik doesn't fray as easily as other types of fabric, right? It's a denser weave. So anyway, I think my time is up. I wanted to only be on here for 45 minutes at the most, and here it is, an hour. It just goes by so fast. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the subscription bell and don't keep this session a secret. And just a reminder, if you're watching or coming in late just now, I will be live next Friday for Quilt Conversations Live, and I have a special interview with one of the Quilt Conversations Live ladies, and she is amazing. It's a great conversation. Join us 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you next time for another Studio B Live. I enjoyed talking with you ladies, with Sassy and Elizabeth. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Elizabeth. So sweet of you to say. Let me see here. I'm sorry I missed that earlier. I'm working with like 2 computers. The one that's streaming this, and then I have my laptop right here. That's what I get to read the comments. Okay. All right. And I also missed Simply Spoiled comment. Let's see. I had to pause a bit, but I've made 7 to 8 quilts and then I stopped. Oh, wow. I have done 1 paper piecing quilt. Great. Your first and your last. Oh, you're funny. Now, what's interesting about that is that the conversation with this quilter that we'll watch on Friday, she talks about that, about when we try something new. So I hope you can join that. If you can't be there live, watch the replay. One panel and the rest of regular piecing. Yeah, it's fun to try different techniques. All right. Hey, Jacqueline, so glad that you're here. I was wondering if you were going to make it live or not. I was just about to sign off. We did some chat about long arm machines. One of the ladies here is looking to get a sit down. She has a frame, but she's ready for a sit down. Um, all right, take care. You have a lovely evening too. Sassy Quilts, thanks for joining me. How are you doing, Jacqueline? What are you up to? Are you back from your camping trip? Or was that almost a month ago? I forget now. The weeks go by so fast. I've had a busy week getting ready for the soiree, which you will be at. Did you download the recipes? What do you plan to make for the soiree? I got some frozen fruit from Costco. I have some berries, and I've been making some delicious fruit smoothies with it. And my version of a fruit smoothie is very simple. It's frozen fruit with some kind of liquid, and I've been using pomegranate tea. I make some pomegranate tea, let it cool down, and then I put that pomegranate tea in with the fruit, and it's delicious. Blueberries and strawberries. Ah, great. You're looking forward to the soiree. Yay. And I mentioned earlier that, and you'll watch it, you'll see it in the replay, that I have some fun free motion inspiration for the soiree. I just uploaded those to the classroom. They're not visible now, but they will be in a couple of weeks. And of course, you got the email for the soiree fascinator party. Getting ready for that. All right, ladies. Well, I'm going to sign off and get my seam ripper out for one section that I made a little mistake on. I went the wrong direction because I've been busy talking. So anyway, I'll put the link in for my favorite ruler that I mentioned, Karen Montgomery's. It's called the Quick Trim and Circle Ruler by Karen Montgomery and Rachel Cross. So I'll put that in the description box. And then any tool that either you see or I talk about, I try and link it to the video. If I forget, just let me know in a comment. All right, take care. Yes, it's going to be a party. Fascinator party. All right, here we go. See you next time. And that will be next Friday for Cool Conversations Live.